this homeless man named Willie. He didn't have enough money to buy food, so he often had to dig through trash cans for leftover burgers people threw away. But one day, he spent all the money he begged for days to buy a literacy card set. Why would he rather buy literacy cards than buy food? It turns out a few days ago he found a little girl's diary in the trash can. The little girl wrote in her diary. Her mother had passed away, only leaving her this notebook, and told her that if she wrote about her life in the notebook, her mother in heaven could also read it. But the little girl was still very lonely, missing her mom every day. Since the homeless man had no friends, he could relate to the little girl's loneliness. But when he read the second entry, the homeless man was stunned, because the following diary entries were all handwritten in English, which he couldn't understand. He tried to ask others for help, but everyone refused him. So he had no choice but to use all his money to buy literacy cards. But at checkout, a little girl next to him said, so Willie gave the money to the girl's mother and asked her to help him pay and bring the cards out. With the literacy cards, Willie started reading the girl's diary nonstop. He even wrote his thoughts after reading the diary, and his daily life in the blank spaces of the diary, as if he was the girl's pen pal and they were writing to each other. One day, some young men came to where the homeless men stayed and paid them to box each other. Willie had only come to see what was happening, but someone tackled him from behind, knocking him down. Willie could only fight back, and amazingly he won in the end. A young man ran over to declare Willie the champion and gave Willie some money, but Willie still didn't use the money to buy food. Instead, he stayed in a motel for one night. Since he hadn't bathed for so long, the bath water turned black. And because he hadn't brushed his teeth for so long, the water he spat out contained blood. In the end, he didn't sleep in the motel bed either, because after so long being a homeless, he was used to the floor. The next day when Willie left the motel, he saw a disabled man struggling to push his wheelchair. He kindly went up to help, but was scolded badly. Willie tried a different way. He asked if the man could read cursive writing. If he helped Willie read this diary, Willie would help push him wherever he wanted to go. The disabled man was silent for a bit, then agreed. The man said he was a veteran, nicknamed Pinky. He lost both legs in the Iraq War. After returning home, he was honored and took a photo with the president. But now he was very poor. He wanted to sell his medal for money, but the pawn shop owner only offered $15.
But if you want to buy this, it's worthless.
Fucking not worthless, man. It's my legs right there.
And he didn't sell it in the end, because he felt it was insulting. Willie pushed him out of the pawn shop. That night, Willie found food for him in the trash can. From then on, they became friends. Because of the veteran, Willie also started integrating into the neighborhood. When someone asked about his hopes for the future,
I don't want to be alone when I die.
He was so lonely, just like the girl in the diary. The girl said no one in her class had spoken to her for a long time. Willie was the same. The veteran and little girl were his only few friends. One day at the library, Willie saw a book about the little match girl. He felt she resembled the little girl in the diary. So he pasted the book's cover onto the diary. Once, Willie went begging with Pinky. He wrote "War Hero" on his sign. This tactic worked very well. In just one night, the veteran collected a lot of money. They went to a hotel, ready to get a room. But to stop them from staying, the hotel jacked up the prices, charging the price of one room for one person. Willie could only leave, letting the veteran stay. When the veteran came out of the hotel, Willie asked him to help read the diary. Willie learned the girl's life was very depressing. After her mother passed away, her uncle adopted her, but he hated her very much.
I'm jealous of Mom. I want to go be in heaven with her.
We would be happy again. And nobody down here would have no outlet.
The veteran didn't want to read any further. This story was too sad. In the days after, the young men who had the homeless fight came again. Willie joined in again and beat up the other homeless men badly. All the young man wanted to do was filming videos and attract rich people to come gamble. When Willie boxed, the young men were very satisfied with his performance. He gave him a lot of money and even called him a friend. But once Willie accidentally beat another homeless man to death. Seeing this, everyone at the scene ran away in fright. Willie also hid inside a box holding the diary. When the police found him, he thought he would definitely go to jail. But the police only asked him a few questions, and that was the end of it. It seemed no one cared at all about the death of the homeless man. After this incident, Willie wrote more and more letters. Only the little girl's existence made Willie feel his life had meaning. Passing by the pawn shop, Willie saw the veteran's medal. He went inside and redeemed the medal. Then he saw the veteran sleeping across the street. He wanted to go over and cover him with a blanket. But going closer, he realized the veteran had passed away. He pushed the veteran to a quiet place and hung the medal on the door. A few days later, the neighborhood manager found Willie and told him not to fight with people in the neighborhood anymore. Willie said the young man was his friend.
They're not your friends, Willie.
Yes, they are.
Are they sleeping down here with you? They're not sleeping in a goddamn box, are they? They're not your friends.
Only at this moment, Willie finally realized he had always been a tool for others' entertainment. After a few days, the young man brought a group of rich kids to watch the fights. He said they were Roman nobles, and these homeless men were their slaves. Hearing this, none of the homeless men wanted to fight anymore. So the young man raised the price to $100 a match. At this point, a frail old man stepped up because he was just too hungry. Seeing no one else taking the offer, the young man went to Willie and demanded he fight. When Willie refused, he threatened Willie.
Look at that old man right now.
When someone else throwing those punches at him?
Willie had no choice but to agree. But facing the old man, Willie didn't move or fight back at all. He just let the old man hit him. To make it easier for the old man, Willie directly knelt on the ground. This dissatisfied the young man greatly. He took out the diary and threatened Willie. If he still didn't fight back, he would burn the diary.
I'm not gonna hit him.
Fine. No!
In the instant the diary fell, Willie lunged for it, but he still couldn't save the diary, and instead burned his own hand. In the hospital, Willie sank into despair. With the diary gone, he could only mutter its contents to himself. But unbeknownst to him, his voice was transmitted through the microphone into the hospital hallway. At this time, a girl fully wrapped in bandages ran out. She peered at Willie. Tears were filled in her eyes. After leaving the hospital, Willie had nothing. He could only go back to begging on the streets. One day, a little girl crossed the road and walked towards Willie. She had burn scars on her face. It was the girl from the hospital, the true owner of the diary. When their eyes met, they embraced each other instantly and tightly. At this moment, the two lonely people had finally found their friend.